Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to Coffee and Sports. This is the morning show. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Wolzak, and to my far right is the man that's here every morning, the man that knows better. It's Mo Better.
Hey, good morning, Gene. Good morning, chat, and a big shout out to my guy, Coach. Good morning, Coach.
So, speaking of Coach, good morning, Coach Dante. Coach Dante back on the morning show. I don't know if you listen, if you've been following long enough, Coach Dante, I think he started Coffee and Sports. Like I think he was A1 day one.
Facts.
And look, due to switching all this stuff, networks, this and that, Coach is still here, and I'm so glad to have him back on Coffee and Sports, the morning show, and chop it up and talk some sports. Good morning, Coach. Welcome back, brother.
Appreciate y'all having me back, man. It's been an honor. It's an honor to do this, bro, especially with me and my boy Mo. That's my dude right there. But it's an honor, to be a part of this, man. And like I say, hey, man, I'm here. I'm back. I'm here. And I'm ready to get – I'm so amped up. I'm ready to get going, man. I'm ready to get going.
Oh, we're going to get rolling. We got another person joining us soon. As soon as he hops in, we'll throw him on there. We're going to chop it up this morning. We're going to have – I'm having some iced coffee today. It's still summertime. Iced coffee and sports. It's going to be a cold day, but we're going to have some fun talking some sports this morning. We got a lot of topics to get into. One of the topics that I guess I'm going to use this tonight might be my you got to be kidding me. And I know that Coach has seen some of this. We talked about it in the green room beforehand. Mo has not seen the realignment proposal for Major League Baseball, and I'm going to break it down. What I think is one of the worst moves I can't even understand. Rob Manfred has ruined baseball. Rob Manfred is one of the worst commissioners ever. I thought Bud Selig was bad. Rob Manfred makes this man look like Bud Selig was the greatest commissioner of baseball ever. So, listen, we can't talk about we're gonna add my man Gardy 3 into the action. Mr. Garden the 2. He's not Garden the 2. He's Garden the 3. Mr. Gardy 3. Now, Gardy 3, we're starting with a topic. That is MLB baseball realignment. And I don't know how much have you seen of this either, but it's stupid. And I'm going to give you my opinion. It's dumb. But I don't want to press my opinion on you guys. I don't know your opinion. I want to hear yours. So, at Guardian 3, have you seen any of this yet? The Major League Baseball realignment?
I've seen some proposals of it.
Okay. So I want to get your logical opinion on this, okay? And I'm gonna read this out to you. In the Northeast corridor, the new division would be the Phillies, the Mets, the Yankees, and the Red Sox. Now, you're laughing, right? In the other division, right next to them, is the Guardians, the Pirates, the Orioles, and the Nationals. I looked this up this morning. The 4 teams in that Midwest, central area right next to the Northeast, combined payroll is less than the Mets. And another thing that's wild about this, if you add the combined payroll of the Phillies, Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox, they have a higher combined payroll than the rest of the entire East Coast.
That's crazy.
I just what is the goal? What is the goal? You put all the teams in the A division, you have them, and everybody else in the B division. What the hell are we doing? The coach is super happy about it because the Houston Astros division. Let me read this out to you. You got the Texas Rangers who are already in their division. You got Kansas City and the Rockies. You might as well just give them the MLB crown for that division every year. Just like the Astros are in the playoffs. Let's forget everything else. The Southeast is a franchise team in Nashville. They have no players. The Atlanta Braves, the Tampa Bay Rays, who have no payroll, and the Marlins have the second lowest payroll in baseball. Now, the fun one, here's a real fun one. They have one with the Cubs, White Sox, St. Louis Cardinals and Cincinnati Reds. They got the Twins, Brewers, Detroit Tigers, and Blue Jays, which is no payroll on any of those teams. And then the LA teams. It's LA, San Diego, San Fran. And then the last expansion team is Portland. So they have Portland, Seattle, the A's, the Las Vegas A's, and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Guys, I think it's severely one-sided. Like, I think it's lopsided payroll-wise, but I don't want to push my opinion on you guys. So I'll start with Coach. Coach, you first day back. What's your thoughts on the realignment? Outside of your homerish Astros, what's your thoughts on the realignment?
Yeah, I don't want to put too much on my Astros, but like I say, I love. Thank you for reading that. I love that, but I say it's crazy. They got the Phillies and the Red Sox, Yankees, Mets in the same, like literally in the same area. They did the Phillies kind of no favors right there, pretty much.
Right.
Then you got the Padres. You got the Padres and who? You got the Padres and who else in the same?
The Dodgers, the Angels, the Padres, and the San Francisco Giants. That'll be at least a fun division.
That'll be a fun division to watch for the Dodgers and Padres. And you got the Angels, who pretty much handled the Dodgers pretty much this year. So they show some stability. And then you got the Tigers, you got the Brewers over there. The Brewers have been hot and stuff like that. So got a pretty interesting one, but by far the easy one is, my Astros is definitely in the easiest one. It's in the easiest one out of everybody else.
Bro, what are your thoughts on the MLB realignment? Stop laughing, all right? I know you're a Brewers fan. Stop laughing. You're going to be with the Tigers, the Twins, and the Blue Jays.
I think they should probably avoid just randomly making one super division. Like, it's just so weird. Like, in the Phillies division, you need to win like 95 games to get third place. Like, right. Meanwhile, in the Astros, if you win like 75 games, that's probably good to get you the division. Like, you know what? You want to realign the divisions, knock yourself out, but at the end of the day, like, let's just avoid like just completely stacking one division and then just making everything else almost like a little too easy for some other teams. Like Astros got like 30 division titles on lock if that's their division.
It's wild. Mo, what's your thoughts on the realignment? Yankees, Mets, Phillies, Red Sox.
I just feel
by the way, combined $900 million in payroll.
I just feel like that division, they didn't do anybody any. That's a bloodbath division. Like that's a brutal division. I just feel like somebody out there is not a big fan of the Phillies.
Well, Phillies have the second highest payroll.
It's crazy to me. I'm as a casual Dodgers fan, I don't mind that division that they made for them. I actually think that looks more like parity to me. So I'm excited about that division, but I just think the overall product, the way they did this, it was very uneven. That's the best way I could put it. It's very, very uneven. And look, even as a casual baseball fan, I felt like baseball was on this huge resurgence the last few years. And I feel like if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it. That's just me.
The Dodgers have the highest payroll in baseball right now. $341 million.
That's what we do.
The Mets are $339. The Yankees are $297. The Phillies are $287. So 2, 3, and 4 are in one division. Over $900 million in payroll. And then add the Red Sox $200 million. That's 11. It's $1.1 billion in payroll in one division. Like, come on, man. And then you look at the bottom of it. I'm not trying to be a smart ass when I say this. But like when you look at the Pirates, $83 million. Let me read this again real quick. The Dodgers have a $341 million payroll, and the Miami Marlins have a $66 million payroll. You could have 5 Miami Marlins teams for one Dodger. 5. There needs to be a salary floor. If you're going to do realignment in Major League Baseball, There has to be a salary floor. Each of these teams have to get to $125 million. They can't. That's not real. That's not real.
And the worst part is the Pirates are trying to cut salary because they're paying too much, apparently.
Yeah, they have $61 million in active salary. They have $22 million in either traded or deferred salary. I hope this doesn't go through. I hope, and they're going to get rid of AL, NL. It'll be just one league, Major League Baseball. Like, screw the traditionalists. No American League pennant, no National League pennant. It'll just be a big playoff system. Any thoughts on that? No.
Not really. It's funny, and I always like keeping it split into like AL, NL, and like two different divisions in general. It feels like once you just make it one massive playoff system, like the intense like interdivisional and like inter like series rivalries you get kind of start dying down a bit. It feels like that's kind of what happened in basketball once they went away from the divisional winners getting guaranteed playoff spots. So I'm always a bigger fan of keeping divisions and keeping everything separated because it feels like it makes everything so much more personal, and that's helps us keep some rivalries that way.
I think it takes away from the lure of the game. I like that there can be an AL MVP and an NL MVP, like all those, along with the individual accolades. I think all those things matters. The little nuances matters. That's a big part of baseball to me as a fan. So I don't like that you're taking those aspects of the game away.
I don't know. Just it's a frustrating thing for his Phillies fan. I hope it doesn't go through. But whatever. Competition, at least it'll lead to a lot of fun baseball. I'll love to see Phillies Mets. I love to see Phillies Yankees. I love to see Phillies Red Sox. So I guess I can't complain too much. I just think it's ridiculous. Going to move over to the NFL. The starting quarterback competition is over in Indianapolis. Daniel Jones was named the starting quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts. I got two questions. I know you guys talked about this yesterday with Anthony Richardson, but I want to hear it again. Do you guys think that Anthony Richardson, do you think he should stay in Indy and try to work his way back to be a starter? Or do you think it's over for him and he needs a new home? I'll start with Coach.
I think at this point, you may need a new home at this point. They signed Daniel. When they gave Daniel Jones that type of money that they gave him, you knew he wasn't. You kind of sense he wasn't. Daniel Jones was going to overtake him from the starting. And then, that just shows every time, when you draft somebody that even struggled in college, but you just draft him based on his potential and his strong arm and everything and his running ability. That dude better hit. That's one thing you better. If you're gonna draft on raw talent, that dude better hit. And unfortunately, the Colts go through the same stuff every single time. They draft quarterbacks, they don't hit. They get these bridge quarterbacks. They not good for them. So this keep reminding me of the cycle of the Matt Ryans, of the Phillip Rivers cycle. It's the same cycle over and over. But I think
don't forget Carson Wentz. Don't forget Carson.
I thought he had a good season to that Jaguars game blew up in his face. So they gave up on him at that point. But then again, I think the offense was right for Anthony Richardson, but it's Anthony Richardson, man. Anthony Richardson mechanics is not great. His decision making is terrible. He still can't get the ball to his open wide receivers, overthrowing wide receivers and stuff. You can question, can he even read defenses outside of running the ball and just having that strong arm? It really wasn't nothing for Richardson. Richardson doesn't really have too much of that at quarterback. But when he tapped out against my Houston Texans, that was all she wrote pretty much right there. And it seemed like the coach just lost all faith in him. But other than that just shows if you're gonna draft on basically potential and raw talent, the kid just gotta hit. You gotta hit, and the coach just keep failing at the quarterback position. That's their problem. They just keep failing at the quarterback position.
Coach, I know you watch college football. I know you do. I know you keep up with it, and I always tell these guys when I talk about Anthony Richardson, because I had Anthony Richardson as a third or fourth round grade when he was coming out. I did not think he was. I don't think he was I thought he was a terrible pick at the 4 overall pick. But I tell people all the time, there's a game you can watch that will tell you the whole story of Anthony Richardson. And it's go back and watch Anthony Richardson and Florida play Will Levis and Kentucky, and go watch that game and tell me these two guys got drafted in the first 33 picks of the NFL draft. Like, you remember that game? It was like 100. One of them had 2 interceptions and 135 yards.
Yep.
The other one had 184 and 0 touchdowns and 1 pick. It was awful. It was terrible quarterback play.
Yep. Will Levis had an awful game against Florida. I mean, that game against Florida, I mean, he was just flat out awful. But other than that, the only reason Anthony Richardson came out because he was going to be a top pick in the draft. That's the only reason you actually come out. But other than that, this would kind of remind me of what's that Notre Dame coach that came out, and you remember, with Deshaun Kaiser supposed to been a top pick in the draft, and he came out right away. The coach came out right away. Should have stayed in college. He supposed to stayed in college. I think that tanked his reputation. That hurt him. He ended up getting drafted in the 2nd round, and his career just went from shit to that. But that showed you, hey, a coach know as well are you ready or not. So other than that, if you're gonna draft based on potential, he got a hit. He got a hit. And the GM just basically came out and said it. After they drafted him, GM basically came out and said it. We drafted him based on what he could become and what he could do. So other than that, if you're gonna draft on potential again, he got a hit. He just got a hit. And unfortunately, he's not hitting for the Colts. And I think a new home may be I think a new change of scenery may be just right for him.
My man Don, it's all media hype. I agree. Looks like Tarzan, plays like Jane. I agree. Mo, I know you guys talked about this yesterday, and on Guardy 3, I asked you the same thing. What's next for Anthony Richardson, and what are your thoughts on Daniel Jones starting for the Colts?
Look, I think Daniel Jones starting for the Colts, it seals Anthony Richardson's fate with Indy. I think he's going to end up getting released. They may try to attempt to trade him, but I don't think nobody's going to trade for him. I think he gets released, and I think it might be the best thing that happened to the young man. When he got drafted, all everybody talked about was project. He's a project. If we recognize that he's a project and that he's a raw talent and that he's not a great quarterback but a great athlete, to me, Indy failed him. They didn't set him up for success. So when I look at Chris Ballard, when I look at Shane Steichen, they both have to take hits on that. They did not coach him up. And if you knew he was a project, he shouldn't be starting. If I know a guy's a project, you're gonna be sitting on the bench for a year or two because you're a project. That's just common sense. And I don't care that you drafted him 4th. You knew he wasn't ready to play football right away. I just feel like the Colts as an organization failed him. Now, look, he should take some blame on his performance, but I think they failed him. Somewhere, an organization will pick him up. Maybe a smart organization to go, don't worry about hitting the field. I want you to get into your playbook. I want you to get into practice. I want you to learn your craft. And he can sit for a year or two, and maybe he can make himself into a credible quarterback. I feel about him, even though they're different athletes, I feel about Anthony Richardson the same way I feel about Trey Lance when he came out. I felt the same way. And I'm looking at Trey Lance now. This is, 3-4 years later. He's just now starting to look like where he could be a credible backup quarterback. I want Anthony Richardson to get a better opportunity somewhere, and I think he will once they release him.
It's funny. You said that almost the same time Cottrell posted in the comments, Trey Lance and AR-15 should show you reps matter in college. I couldn't agree with him more. I think Anthony Richardson ends up getting traded, and I think it'll be a conditional 4th, probably a 5th that they give for him. And I think a team in this league will take a chance on him. When you see Trey Lance, I see Taysom Hill. And I don't mean that in like any rude way to Anthony Richardson, but I feel like he can be one of the ultimate gadget guys in the league, a backup quarterback that could play a different route or different position. You can use him in the run game. Like, I feel like Anthony Richardson has a place in the NFL. He's too gifted of an athlete. But like Danny Dempsey said, if Daniel Jones takes your job, you got to retire. Daniel Jones, it's insane to me that people still look for reasons to hype this man up. He is the slowest processing decision maker in the NFL. I mean that Daniel Jones cannot process defenses. That was on his scouting report coming out of college. But they're like, oh, he throws an accurate ball, and he's Vanilla Vic, and he's fast, and he's this. No. Cannot process defense. Shane Steichen has to develop an offense to gear towards Daniel Jones making a quick decision. Cardi 3, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with Mo in the sense that the Colts just majorly failed Anthony Richardson on this one. At the end of the day, if there was a quarterback that it was blatantly obvious that he should probably just sit for minimum 1, probably closer to 2 years and learn behind a vet, it was Anthony Richardson. But they decided to kind of throw him into the fire right away and didn't really take the time to develop him properly. And that's where we're at now. That being said, this can't be all on the Colts. At the end of the day, Anthony Richardson had the extra year in the Shane Steichen system. He had the playbook earlier. There's no reason he shouldn't have been able to beat out Daniel Jones for that starting spot, and he just could not do so. So I think we're at a point where Anthony Richardson has a future in the league, but it's just clearly not in Indiana, with the Colts. And you can't just, throw him out there as the starter, because I know a lot of people think that, well, you just got to start the young quarterback. But the problem is, if you kind of broke his confidence and you kind of run into a situation where you still need to develop other guys. So you got to go what's best for you right now at the quarterback spot for them. The answer is just, to me, is start Daniel Jones, trade Anthony Richardson, and draft your franchise quarterback next year.
Completely agree with you. Speaking of franchise quarterbacks and guys that replace guys, the guy that replaced Daniel Jones in New York is Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart this preseason versus the Jets, I'm going to read you his stat line. It was 14 of 16, 137 yards and 1 touchdown, 123 quarterback rating. Anybody, your thoughts on Jackson Dart, Guardy 3?
I loved what I saw from Jackson Dart. He was aggressive. He took timely risks, and he made a lot of smart decisions taking those risks. Obviously with Daniel Jones, he was kind of slower to process and really quick to check down. So I love what I saw from Dart, just ready to let it rip and ready to attack, every level of the field. So I'm expecting good things from him. He's going to be able to sit behind Russ and Jameis for a year and kind of learn and develop, not have to be rushed into action with this brutal schedule they have. So I'm really liking what I saw from the Jackson Dart reps in preseason so far.
Mo?
It's funny because Brett said he's going to be able to sit for a year. I actually think because of the schedule that he's going to get to play. I think that Russ will get a shot. If Russ struggles, Jameis is going to get a shot, and Jackson Dart will be the starter before the season's end. What I like about Jackson Dart is he does make quick decisions. If I were going to say there's something you should caution about, is he's quick to take off and run. And when you're a quarterback that's quick to take off and run the way he is, that doesn't bode well because he doesn't slide. He doesn't protect himself. If you're going to be a young quarterback like that and you take hits the way he takes hits, you're not going to be playing that long because of injury. So he's got to learn how to protect himself when he takes off.
Dart will be able to start when the schedule gets easier. That might be next year, Jory. They have the hardest schedule in the history of the NFL. I'm not kidding. That's not a joke. I wish I could make that up. The Giants have the hardest schedule in the history of football. So, Coach, your thoughts on Jackson Dart?
The only way I'm throwing Jackson Dart up out there, if the Giants are 1-5 or 1-6, then I'll just put him out there. Because at that point, hey, just let him go ahead and play. Just let him go ahead and play, see what you got in him. But I did like his decision making. That's one thing I like in a young quarterback, not turning over the ball, checking the ball down when you need to, and taking some risks, making the strong throws and pushing the ball up the field, moving up out of the pocket, processing the whole field and just throwing on the run. That's what Jackson Dart was always good at. Now, like Mo said, when you come to the NFL, you want to run the ball, you got to get your ass down because you will get hurt. would get hurt. So other than that, I like what Jackson Dart did. He was really good processing the field, checking the ball down, and taking shots up the field. I really like that. He has a strong arm, but the only way I'm really throwing him in now, if they 1-6 or 1-5, then I'm just say, hey, I just throw him in now. I just really throw him in now and just let him finish off the year, because at that point the Giants' season is over. So just go ahead and put your rookie out there if you're 1-6 or 1-5. That's the only way I'm really putting him out there. But if they competitive, Russell Wilson is gonna really stay out there. He's gonna stay out there and just give them a shot. But if they're not, 1-6, 1-7 or something like that, just throw them out there. Just go ahead and throw them out there. That's the only way I'm putting them out.
So I waited to go last on this one because I have a different take than 99% of people that have watched Jackson Dart this preseason. I don't think the kid's good. I don't. I never thought he was good out of Ole Miss. I didn't. I thought he was, every time there was a big game in Ole Miss that Jackson Dart did not show up. It reminds me back to the game they lost at home, 20-17 to Vanderbilt, a team you should never lose to, let alone losing at home. And we look at the 14-16 and we go, oh my God, 14-16. That is incredible. And then I looked at the stats too. I'm like, oh man. And I watched the highlights and they showed 2 throws where he threads the needle in between 2 defenders, which by the way, that was a regular season game. That receiver would have got absolutely destroyed, but it wasn't. Preseason, kind of like 75% speed. And he throws a nice ball for a touchdown pass. That was 2 really good passes. But what they don't show you, and what I watched when I watched the All-22, was that 9 of his 14 completions. Let me say this again, because a lot of people don't know this. 9 out of this man's 14 completions were at or behind the line of scrimmage. That is not good quarterback play. Dumping a ball off on a screen 9 times is not good quarterback play. That is a systematic offense to get the man in a rhythm of throwing the football. I think that's a great design, a great play call design. I don't think Jackson Dart's got it. I never did. I'm not a huge J.J. McCarthy guy. You're going to find out that this year. It's just, in my world, I watch these quarterbacks play. Like, I'm much higher on Justin Fields than most people are. I'm much lower on J.J. McCarthy than most people are. And it's because I watched the kids play in college. I watched them develop. I think Jackson Dart is another guy that will be a quarterback for the New York Giants for 4 to 5 years, and then they're going to move on and find another franchise quarterback. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. Lord knows I was wrong about Carson Wentz. But want to move forward. Just one more NFL topic for now. We seen this yesterday on the Wire to Wire Sports page. And I want to kind of give this a discussion. It was great post. I think Guardy 3 posted it. I'm almost sure he did. You can give me the correction if you didn't. But I want to project the 4 seasons of the 4 quarterbacks in the NFC North. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to delete your memory. Take everything about their past and just delete it for now. And all I want you to do is project the 2025 season out of the 4 quarterbacks in the NFC North. Who has the best season, the second best season, the third best season, and then who has the worst season? If you don't know, if you're watching at home, I'm talking about J.J. McCarthy, Caleb Williams, Jordan Love, and Jared Goff. I did that by youth intentionally. But I want you to project their seasons. Who has the best season? Who has the worst season? Guardy 3, you made the post. So I seen your answer. Explain your answer and help me understand.
Yeah, so I think the guy who's going to have the worst season is going to be J.J. McCarthy. I think he has the best offensive weapons, arguably, but still very young and inexperienced, and I still have absolutely no clue what I'm getting out of J.J. McCarthy. So overall, I think he's going to have the worst season. At 3, I had of Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff is the safest answer to put at number 1. Very, very accurate, very safe, but I think he gives you a bit of a potentially lower floor than the other two quarterbacks. I think they have a very high ceiling, and I think they're more individually talented, and I think that's going to show this year. I think the second best quarterback is going to be Caleb Williams. I think the pairing of him and Ben Johnson is going to be great. I love the process that I'm seeing from him in preseason. He's being a lot more decisive in the pocket, drop back, making quick reads, and still being able to be Caleb Williams outside of it. But I think the best quarterback will end up being Jordan Love. I think Jordan Love might still have problems at receiver with drops. That being said, that was still a top 10 offense when, with all the drop issues last year, had offensive line injuries. So the Packers went out and invested even more into the offensive line. So now we are like 7 offensive linemen deep. Jordan Love's going to be well protected. You have Matt LaFleur with a phenomenal scheme. Golden, he's been looking very legit, and from the sounds of it, he has all the makings of potentially being a very special receiver. So I think this year it's going to be Jordan Love's year to be the best quarterback in that division, and I also think Caleb Williams is going to take a big leap.
You watched the I know did you see the Bears Buffalo Bills preseason game? It was like the only primetime game that was on the other night, and Caleb Williams got the ball at like his own 8-yard line and put together like a surgical drive, 64 yards. It looked like Caleb Williams at USC again. Coach, it's funny. I've heard your take on a lot of quarterbacks. I've heard you talk about a lot. I don't know what your take is on Caleb Williams. I guess I didn't hear it. Like, I feel like you've talked about him enough, but I just haven't heard it yet. Your thoughts on that division and ranking the quarterbacks, and then your thoughts on Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams.
Well, I think, first of all, I think Ben Johnson's definitely going to help out Caleb Williams. But I think this year, there's no excuses for the Chicago Bears. You got him a receiver in Luther Burden. You got Rome Dunze. You got DJ Moore. You got your offensive line now, that was the problem. That was the problem last year. You got you an offensive line. There's no excuses. Caleb Williams should not be better this year. I think he's going to be fine. I don't know if he's going to be a stud quarterback, but I think he's going to be fine. He's going to make some plays. He's going to make some miraculous plays. I don't think he has that strong of an arm that could end up being a problem when he's trying to push the ball down the field. But other than that, like I say, I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. But again, if the Bears don't underachieve this year, that's because Caleb Williams probably regress if the Bears don't. They got a great defense too. They have a tremendous defense too, so their defense is really good. So I feel like the only way they really underachieve is if Caleb Williams regress. Now, I agree with Brad. I think Jordan Love is going to be the best quarterback in the division. The worst is going to be J.J. McCarthy, especially coming off that injury from last year. I'm not high, just like you, Jim. I'm not high on J.J. McCarthy. I don't think he's that good. Jared Goff. I kind of want to put Jared Goff at 3, but I'm going to put him at 2 because the only reason why I feel in and out about Jared Goff, because it's playoff performance. When he plays very good teams, man, he just turns into too much of the spoiled milk, just like he did against the Commanders. They had the best offense in the league. They were rolling, and next thing you know, he throws multiple picks and a pick 6, and then against the Texans, he threw 5 picks, and somehow that because we had the worst offense at that point of time. But he threw 5 picks in that game. So Jared Goff could be exposed at any moment. So I still put him at 2, but I just don't got a great feeling about Jared Goff. But I still think he's a better quarterback than Caleb Williams. So that's the only reason he's at 2 and Caleb Williams is at 3.
You got JJ at 4. It's funny, Mo. I'm going to get right to you in a second, but I look at that division and I look at everything how it breaks down, and that Bears, the way they're constructed, they've done such a great job this offseason. You bring in Luther Burden. You forget they drafted Rome Odunze last year. Not you specifically, but people at home forget they drafted Rome Odunze in the first round last year. They also have DJ Moore, who's a very capable receiver. They shored up that offensive line. And like you said, Coach, their defense is legit. Montez Sweat, Grady Jarrett, Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, Jalen Johnson, Jaquan Brisker, Tyreek Stevenson.
That's a low defense.
Solid.
It's a loaded defense. That's a loaded defense.
Loaded.
Yep.
I gave my answer. I'll Mo go first, and then I'll kind of close it out, and then we'll move on. But Mo, what's your thoughts on that division and the progression of Caleb Williams?
So I'm going to put JJ McCarthy at fourth, but I'm putting him at fourth because he's a rookie. He's essentially a rookie, and even with the weapons that he has, this is year one for him. But I'm only putting him at fourth because he's a rookie. I got Caleb Williams at 3 because I think pressure busts pipes. And all I keep hearing is everything they've done for him to set him up for success, including the defense that you guys just mentioned, along with all the offensive weapons and Ben Johnson. And you almost forget that this is just year 2 for this guy. It's year 2. The difference between Caleb Williams to me and JJ McCarthy is, yeah, he's definitely more talented. I think JJ McCarthy is mentally tougher than Caleb Williams. I don't even think it's close. I think Caleb Williams is mentally soft. And I don't think the Bears are going to have a tremendous season. At least he's not going to. And I think that, and I said this yesterday, before the season is over with, Ben Johnson will have pulled out most of his hair. I think that Caleb Williams is one of those guys that doesn't deal with adversity very well. And because everything is set up for him to have success, there's no quarterback. There might not be a quarterback in football that has more pressure on them to perform than this second-year player. And I don't think he's going to live up to the expectations. I don't. The only reason I don't have him fourth is because JJ is a rookie. And at number 2, I got Jared Goff because I think that Detroit offense is going to be fine with all those weapons and all that talent. And Jared Goff is a terrific system quarterback. He is going to have a very prolific regular season, put up a lot of numbers. We're not going to question Jared Goff until we get close to the postseason. So I'm not worried about what he does production-wise. I do think Jordan Love is going to be the best quarterback in that division. I think the Packers are going to win that division. I like their receiving room. I understand about the drops last year, but I think that their receiving core is so deep and so diverse. And then you've got the power running game with Josh Jacobs, which nobody talks about. Josh Jacobs is Jordan Love's best friend. I think the Packers are going to win the division outright. I think Jordan Love is going to have a Pro Bowl season, and that's how I rank him.
I follow you. I have Jordan Love 1 also. I think Jordan Love has a great year this year for the Packers. They shored up the offensive line. They got him a true number 1 in Matthew Golden. You obviously still have Jaden Reed, who's a perfect slot guy. Like, I love the way he plays in the slot. And then they're deep, right? Like, you got Dobbs, who's your short-handed first down guy, Dontavian Wicks. You got a room full, and Christian Watson, if he can ever stay on the field. That guy has been a hamstring injury every other week. But they also signed my favorite receiver, Mecole Hardman. I'm kidding. That guy sucks. But I'm sorry. I told you Mecole Hardman sucked 3 years ago, and no one wanted to hear it. Mecole Hardman sucks.
He's fast.
But, all right. Next. But I have Jordan Love 1. I have Caleb 2. I'll say this. I am one of the bold predictors. I think the Detroit Lions do not make the playoffs this year. Everyone, Detroit this, Detroit that. Like, I see everybody's list. Detroit's winning the North. Detroit had 15 wins last year. Detroit's getting healthy after having 15 wins last year. Detroit lost 2 coordinators. And they lost more than 2 coordinators. They lost 6 coordinators, if we're being completely transparent, because both Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn took guys with them. That coaching staff is nowhere. I go back to the Jay-Z song, Lost Ones. I heard him saying they made Hope. I said, okay, Hope, to make another Hope. I'm hearing Dan Campbell made the Lions. Okay, cool. Show me you can do it without those coordinators. Show me you can do it without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Show me that the Lions can be this type of franchise with another set of coordinators, because it ain't that easy. I've watched coaches after coaches after coaches fall on their face. Nick Sirianni being one of them. You know, you had Steichen and Gannon. They went to the Super Bowl. The next year, they're like, oh, we'll just promote from within. Brian Johnson will be our offensive coordinator. They stunk with Brian Johnson as their offense coordinator. Yeah, we'll bring in who's that moron that coached everywhere? Matt Patricia. He'll be our defensive coordinator. Yeah, that defense stunk. That defense was 23rd with Matt Patricia and 2nd with Vic Fangio. They didn't change much of the personnel. I think when you promote from within, you severely deteriorate what you're building. Because I don't care what they say. Every offensive coordinator wants his own staple. He's not going to run Ben Johnson's offense. I understand he worked with Ben last year. He's going to want to have his own mix. This is the way I would do it. Sean Desai is the one they brought in. But I don't know. I think it's embarrassing how bad the Lions are going to be this year. I really believe that. That's my bold take of the year. The Lions don't make the playoffs. So I'll go Jordan 1, Caleb 2. You know what? I might even switch it up. Give me JJ 3 and Jared Goff 4.
Wow.
I don't think JJ McCarthy is that good, but when you have Justin Jefferson, now keep in mind, Jordan Addison is going to be suspended. I think it's 6 games. Jordan Addison suspended. You got TJ Hawkinson and you have Brian Flores and that coaching staff on the defensive side. Hey, listen, JJ, we don't need you to win the game. Go out there and manage the game for us. That's what he did at Michigan. They had a great defense and he managed the football game to a national championship.
Yep.
I'll go JJ
running game too. They had a very good running game too. So yeah, that's how he made the national title.
They're gonna have a thunder and lightning with Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. A lot of people don't realize they signed Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's gonna have a very prolific role in that offense. I promise you. 30-year-old running backs are very extinct in the NFL. Aaron Jones is at his expiration date. He's like milk, starting to expire. So I think the Vikings are going to be better than the Lions. So I'll go JJ and then Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff has a very rough year.
Saying with the Lions too, what worries me about them is I'm just curious on how they'll look once the season starts and Frank Ragnow isn't out there. He's one of those rare centers that at the end of the day you didn't really need to. You didn't need to help him all that much with double teams, and that's always huge when it comes to the center position. So that, to me, that's just very concerning on how they'll adjust for his loss too. So it'll be interesting.
The interior of that line is not good. They have Penei Sewell, who is incredible, and they have Taylor Decker on the other side, who's already a little banged up from training camp. But outside Decker and Sewell, the strength of that team last year with that offensive line, and they lost 2/5 at that offensive line last year. I do not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm crazy. I don't think they have that great of a year this year. I think the Lions are going to be bad.
The more elite defenses that Jared Goff plays, the better his decision making becomes. So, I just want to throw that out there.
I completely agree, Coach. And they're playing a lot of good teams this year. They're going to play. Here's the third thing, right? Like we look at the NFC North plays the NFC East. They have a very tough schedule this year. And we all joke around about the Giants, but the one thing the Giants can do is they're going to be able to apply pressure on the quarterback. That defensive line, I'm going to say a statement right now that might sound crazy. That front seven might be the best front seven I've ever seen.
Say Dexter Lawrence is going to absolutely live in the backfield against Detroit. That isn't even going to be fair. He might have like 7 sacks that game.
The Giants' pass rush might be the best pass rush I've ever seen. You have Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, Abdul Carter, and then we keep talking about the guy like he's a stiff. Kayvon Thibodeau's not bad. Former first-round draft pick. You're going to have Thibodeau, Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Abdul Carter going after the quarterback? Yeah, right. Good luck. Good luck. Just an opinion. Yeah, I say front seven because most of them are listed as outside linebackers, Kittrell. you probably are right. Let me just say pass rush.
No, I've always been high on the Giants pass rush. I think that's going to be their very redeeming quality, and I think that's going to be the key to keeping them in a lot of these games this year. So I do love what the Giants bring to the table in terms of bringing pressure on the quarterback, and that's why like this year I think they're going to suck, but they're almost going to be like a really competitive sucky. Like I think that defense and the pressure they can get on these quarterbacks, as long as they can bring a competent offense, like I think this team can at least remain competitive in most of these games, even if they don't win all of them.
Love it. Gonna switch gears. Just want to bring this up. I feel like it's worth talking about, right? The NBA lost a legend in basketball as John Wall retired. I'm kidding. He's not a legend, but I'll say this. He's a Kentucky legend. That guy was incredible when he first came in the league. Career was plagued by too many injuries. When I heard he had an 11-year career, in my mind, the first thing that came to my mind was, wow, it was only 11 years. I felt like he's been in the league for like 14, 15 years. But as many seasons this man missed with knee injuries and surgeries, John Wall decides to call it a career. I'm going to pass it to my N1 guys first. Mo, your thoughts on the retirement of Mr. John Wall?
Look, it was time, but as a fan, what I remember about John Wall before the injuries, just a one-man fast break. He was a blur, could blow by anybody, could finish over the top of people, underrated athlete. He was actually a great on-the-ball defender. Like at his peak, before the injuries, John Wall could lock you down, and he impacted both sides of the floor. Loved his confidence, loved his swag before the injuries. John Wall was just fun to watch. I hate that injuries robbed his career of what he could have been.
Brett?
He had a fun career. He had a fun, great career. I loved watching him back in the day. His last healthy season, which was the 2016-2017, you could argue that he was the best two-way point guard in the league. Just a great, dog of a defender, could get unbelievable pressure on the rim. Really kept the Wizards competitive in those years. But yeah, it was time. You could tell it was time when the Clippers brought him in, and he just did not look like the same player at all. You could just kind of tell the writing was on the wall at that point. So at the end of the day, though, I will always remember him, just as a very dynamic two-way guard who had a very catchy song of, do the John Wall. So
yeah,
at the end of the day, it was a great career for John Wall, and I'm hopefully wish him well in his next lot of life.
Coach, your thoughts on Mr. John Wall?
Man, you're talking about John Wall, somebody that came in the league and performed like right away. I mean, just performed right away. He also was athletic, bro. His athleticism was crazy. I mean, he can go right or left. He got explosiveness, and he impacted the game without really just shooting the ball really well from behind the arc. He had a very good mid-range jump shot. He could make tough shots. And also he was clutcher than you think. You looked at that Celtics game when they were down 3-2. He hit that pretty much that game went off the glass. I remember he went into Atlanta and he killed Atlanta. I think that's the game he broke his wrist. He pretty much hurt his wrist. He beat Atlanta. He had a crazy stat line that game. But when John Wall was healthy, man, John Wall was a top tier point guard in the NBA. I mean, get everybody involved, rebound the basketball, push the break, push the tempo. He was fast. He was fast with the ball in his hands. Like if it was a fast break, just see how he was moving with the ball in his hands and stuff. He was just that explosive and that good. And once them knees go out on you, you pretty much lost your athleticism. And the only way you probably can maintain in the league if you can just shoot the ball at a high rate. So other than that, once he lost those athleticism and stuff like that, everything just kind of went downhill. But John Wall was probably one of the best point guards in the NBA. Man, he was by far a top 3 point guard in the NBA when he was John Wall. when he was the best in the East for sure, but he was like, again, he was a top tier point guard in the NBA when he was John Wall.
I don't think this is a question, but Cottrell asked it, so I'll ask you guys. John Wall or Derrick Rose career-wise, I think this is easy, Derrick Rose, but
Derrick
maybe
Rose.
Yeah.
It's Derrick
It was
Rose.
Derrick Rose. Tom Thibodeau messed up that man meniscus. Tom Thibodeau did that to that dude.
And then
Say-
sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, say with I think, you know, at the end of the day, Derrick Rose obviously just peaked higher than John Wall, and the biggest difference too is once they got out of their primes, Derrick Rose found a way to remain effective for years after, where just after that 16-17 season and John Wall was out of his, he was done. He was pretty much just out of the league at that point. So I think this one's pretty easily Derrick Rose.
I agree, and I want to move on because I have one more topic and then a start bench cut. Want to move over to the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham tore up her knee yesterday. She is out for the season. Another huge injury to that Indiana Fever team. She's done for the year. So I don't know how many, like they literally already signed. Ari McDonald broke her bone. Sydney Colston ACL tear. Sophie Cunningham will miss with an MCL tear. They've absolutely exhausted anything they could do. Caitlin Clark's still not back. The Fever, a team that most people projected to be in the Final Four this year, are absolutely falling apart at the seams with injuries. They're still sitting at the 6th seed. They're 19-16. They're not going to catch the Aces or the Mercury before the season's over. But if they land in that 6th seed, they'll have that dream matchup versus Atlanta. And the Atlanta Dream, right? Like you've seen those battles with, listen, Ryan Howard and Caitlin Clark going at it was great basketball to watch. Your thoughts on how many more injuries can this Fever team sustain and still remain a contender?
I don't know. They've been decimated by injuries, and to be honest with you, I'm impressed with what they've done to this point, especially without their best player. I hope they can hold on to that 6th seed. And as a fan, I'd like Caitlin Clark. Hopefully she joins them in the postseason and they do get that dream matchup. But right now there's more questions than answers because losing Sophie Cunningham for the rest of the year, that's a devastating loss on top of the ones they've already had. I don't know how they go forward and maintain their seeding right now with this current situation.
It feels like the answer is just they're not really contenders at this point, and it's really no fault of their own. It's just there's only so many injuries that you can really withstand before, you know, you just kind of fall apart. And while the Fever have done an admirable job keeping it all together with the injuries, I think, yeah, once you get into the postseason, you do run into a team like, you know, the Dream, or you eventually obviously have to play, you know, a team like Minnesota or a team like New York. Like at that point, like it's all over. Like when it comes to the Fever, I think it's just over for them. I think they'll get into the playoffs. I think, you know, they'll still be competitive. They've shown that's who they are, but I just don't think I already think they're not contenders.
Oh, you think they're not?
No, I think they're just too injured.
That's fair. They've done a good job of picking up different players and putting them in different positions. I think it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think that they figured out a way to win a game versus the lowly Connecticut Sun. Kelsey Mitchell has been incredible. They grabbed Odyssey Sims, who scored 19 points. They literally grabbed her off the exemption list because they don't have any money to spend. It's called a hardship contract in the WNBA. She dropped 19 off the bench. They still have Natasha Howard. They still have Aaliyah Boston. They still have Lexi Hull. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 38 the other night. I think they'll still be okay. They're not deep. They're definitely not deep. They can't afford any more injuries at this point. But here's what I'll say. Come playoff time, if that team remains completely healthy, not a lot of teams are at their healthiest now. So it leads me to my fun start bench cut that I wanted to start. Going into this year's WNBA playoff, that's it. That's all I want you to do. I understand career-wise, some of these players are just different levels. But I have a start bench cut for you. Are you taking last year's champion, national champion multiple times, multiple-time MVP, Breanna Stewart? This year, you have Napheesa Collier, who's a runaway MVP, with an ankle injury, missing 5 straight games. She's going to come back from that ankle injury. They said she'll be back soon for playoffs. Or the resurgence of going into this last year's MVP, A'ja Wilson. 32 points. And she's been absolutely killing it. The Aces, the last 6 games have been incredible. They won again last night versus a very good Dream Team. I love saying that, by the way. Atlanta Dream Team. But the Aces have won 8 straight. They were 14-14. They won 8 straight. A'ja Wilson has hit that level you see her hit at certain times. So going into this postseason, start bench cut. Breanna Stewart, Napheesa Collier, A'ja Wilson. Coach, I'll start with you.
Man, hey, I'm a big fan of. I'm gonna tell you this, right? On my bench, I'm taking Napheesa Collier. I love this. That's one of my favorite players in the WNBA. She's just a walking bucket, and she has changed that Minnesota Lynx organization up. And start, I'm taking A'ja. I think A'ja Wilson is the best player in the WNBA. I'm taking her defensively, offensively. Man, she turns into a Super Saiyan guard. I don't know how she does it. She can rebound. She's really good. She can shoot the basketball. It's nothing that she really can't do on a basketball court. So I'm starting A'ja Wilson because I think she's the best player in the WNBA, and I'm benching Napheesa Collier. I love it. She's a walking bucket.
I feel like that I might have set myself up for this. I thought the way Napheesa Collier's season's been, her being the MVP of what's the name of the league they have in Miami? I forget the one that Napheesa Collier and Breanna Stewart started. Regardless, Napheesa Collier is the runaway MVP. I thought I was setting myself up. Maybe I'm not. Mo, start bench cut. Where we going?
To me, this is easy. I'm going A'ja Wilson, and then I'm going to bench Fee, and I'm cutting Stewie.
I might have made it too easy for y'all. I might have. Unrivaled. Damn it. It's my fault. Brett, I'm guessing we're going the same spot.
Yeah. I think starting A'ja, benching Fee is just the right call here.
You know what the funny thing is? That's a fail for me. That's what that is. The point of a start bench cut is to have differing opinions. And when I make it that easy for y'all, I was trying to sell it. Like, oh, yeah. I thought, because A'ja Wilson, 8 games ago, no one here was starting. I'm sorry, maybe Coach was, but I don't think anybody here was starting A'ja Wilson 8 games ago. They were 14-14. That Aces team looked like they might not even make the playoffs. And then the last 8 games, she's turned into like MVP A'ja. It's been like a clicked. It's just, she's back. 32 points, 18 boards, like insane video game numbers. And Napheesa Collier gets hurt. 8 games ago, Napheesa Collier was running away with the MVP, leading the league in points, one of the best two-way players in the game. Man. I failed you. I failed you all.
That was the route, but Gene, that was the route I was gonna go anyway. Because 2 years ago, I've been saying A'ja Wilson was the best player in the WNBA. Was the best player in the W. And Napheesa Collier was just one of my favorite players, man. She just changed that Minnesota organization around, man. She just a dominant scorer, man. She really means a lot to that team. So you was okay.
Say I know this year, even though like the Aces as a whole struggle, that I've been still high on A'ja still being the best player in the W. At the end of the day with her, because she's been balling all year, it feels like the rest of the team wasn't coming along for the ride. And as soon as they're finally like raising their game, now the wins are kind of pouring in. It almost felt like even though she's not going to win the MVP, it's kind of like when midseason when some of those Cavs teams are struggling in the mid-2010s, but they have LeBron James and they'll be okay. That's just kind of how I felt about the Aces and A'ja Wilson. Like, they have the best player in the league. Somebody else is going to win MVP, but there's nobody I trust more in the W right now than A'ja Wilson.
My favorite player in the W right now is Napheesa Collier. I've been And that's until Juju gets to the league, because Juju is going to be next level. Cannot wait to watch me some Juju Watkins. I'm wishing her the most speedy recovery, and I want her to get back to the way she was, because she does it differently. 30 seconds. I know we're past time, but did any of y'all catch the UFC fight Saturday night?
I didn't.
I did not.
Anybody? I just wanted to point this out, that Khamzat Chimaev, this is one of the most impressive things I've ever seen in my entire life. Broke the UFC record for 575 strikes in a fight. He took down the champion, Dricus du Plessis, took him down within the first 30 seconds of all 5 rounds. It's got to be the most demoralizing thing ever to know that this man is coming to take you down, and he takes you down within 30 seconds every single round. I think we've seen our next dominant UFC champion in Khamzat Chimaev. He made easy work of Dricus du Plessis in one of the most one-sided UFC championship fights I've ever witnessed. 50-44 across the board. Just wanted to make mention of that before we wrapped up. Kittrell said, I don't have a new favorite yet. I was all in on Maya Moore and Elena Delle Donne, but I have not found someone to fill that role. I thought it was Stewie. Don't lie to yourself. You've been the biggest Stewie fan of all time, bro. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
I loved Maya Moore, and I
love
Elena
Maya
Delle Donne.
Moore.
Yep. Shout out to Maya Moore.
The funny story about Elena Delle Donne, a lot of people don't know, is Elena Delle Donne signed with UConn. A lot of people don't know that. She went up there and she could not handle Gino Auriemma talking the way she talked to people. And she's like, I want to be by my sister. And she went back and played at UD. And it was insane, because to think what Elena Delle Donne might have done with UConn, with some of those teams, it could have completely changed. Like, UConn could have won 10 in a row. It would have been insane. But just wanted to put that out there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this morning on Coffee and Sports, the morning show. It is so great to have Coach back on the morning show. I just have a sneaking feeling you might see him a couple more times on the morning show.
Yeah, anytime, bro.
Love it,
bro.
Guardy 3 has been here every day this week, filling in for me Monday, Tuesday, hopping on today. And Mo, the guy that he knows better, he's Mo better. He's here every morning on the morning show. Any final thoughts, gentlemen?
No, great show, great energy from the chat, especially from Cottrell and Jory. Thank you guys so much.
That's it. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you tune back in tonight for Wire to Wire. Check out And One tomorrow. We're going to keep bringing you some great content. So,
Coach, great having you. Make sure you tune in tonight to Wire Sports Podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got some stuff to go over tonight. We get into the offensive side of the ball in the NFL. It's going to be heated debates going on. Gene versus Shally in trivia. It's going to be a fun one. It's going to be a fun one tonight. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That's it. That's all we got. I'm going to wrap it up. Take care, y'all.